right, let's talk about Trap. I want to hear your blast sick in your theater experience to start this off.
Let me pull it up. I think we had very different blast experiences here, but let me get this up. Of course, it drives me nuts that our filters aren't working.
I know.
CEO and COO of Blast in our app doesn't work the same as for everyone else, but whatever. All right, so I saw this at Kendall on one of the smaller screens. I'd say it was about like 15 people. There was a good crowd though.
Nice.
7:30 last night.
Ooh, that's
So
kind of disappointing, huh?
I don't know.
Friday night, I think there were like 25 and at opening night for me on
Okay.
Thursday. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good chunk. I feel like Tuesday this may perform well. I also think that on a Friday when you have movies like Twisters and Deadpool out,
I don't know if it can compete with those two.
it can't.
Yeah.
It can't unless we'll see how it does on Tuesday.
Okay.
I give it one last shot. But Kendall, 7:30, saw it with Katie. This was an event. This is what I want from movie theater experiences. Original story, cool premise, immersive experience with a ton of background actors. This concert felt real, and Hartnett was just planted in it. This movie twists and turns, or in some cases, doesn't twist or turn, in ways I wasn't expecting, and that made it an awesome watch. Blast grade A, movie grade B+. I had a great time with Trap. I know there's some M. Night cheese and M. Night archetypes from a story perspective, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but I think I just couldn't help but smile for about an hour and 45 minutes.
I promise you, I am happy about that, and I want you to keep liking this movie. I really do, but I think that the more we talk about this one, it's gonna drop to like a C+.
Yeah, maybe.
My Trap ticket was for Kendall GDX, August 1st, 7:40 p.m. with Josh. Our theater was awesome for this one. Everyone was laughing every time Salika was supposed to have a serious moment but couldn't deliver. Stays tense for the first 30 to 40 minutes, but like all recent Shyamalan films, falls apart after that. Make a short film, man, please, and maybe stop trying to make Salika an A-lister. Blast grade B+, movie grade C-.
Ooh. All right. I don't get the Salika hate, man. I don't get the hate for him like plugging his daughter. We were talking about this in the car, but any other director, I could understand it. And it is distracting, but I at least can appreciate it because the dude funds his own movies. Like it's his own project. It's his own baby.
Dude, is there a bigger like nepotism figure, I guess, in the world than M. Night after, because we got Ashana getting Trap or the Watchers this year, which was awful and could have been directed by anybody in the world, and now we have this with Salika.
I mean, again, I don't care, but LeBron James definitely clears. I mean, Bronny should not have been a second round pick.
Yeah, but this is like if Bronny got picked in the second round and then the littler one, doesn't he have a second son, younger?
Yes.
And then like he was like, yeah, and also he's gonna be the number one rapper for the next 5 years or something.
Okay,
Or
that's pushing it. I don't know. I feel like, of course, we're gonna turn this into an NBA pod, but like LeBron doesn't own the Lakers, so he shouldn't have the say like this. M. Night, in theory, owns this project. Like can dictate those choices because he's putting the money into it.
is he though fully? Because this was a Warner Bros. Production.
I was going to ask you about that. This is a good way for me to steer away before I lose. When the movie started and I realized it was Warner Brothers and not Blumhouse, I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be a little better than the last like 3 or 4. Like there's a reason they picked it up.
Yeah.
There had to have been. And I don't know if that's just because Hartnett's in it, but this did feel a little better than the last like 2 or 3.
I think it had a little
projects.
more production quality, but at the end of the day, it's just M. Night making a concert film for his niece, right?
Yeah, but how can you not like appreciate the? We'll dive into spoilers, but it really is a Hartnett movie. Like that's at its core what we're looking at here is him just on an all-time like 30-point, 15 assists, 8 rebound kind of night. He's just all over this movie.
Enjoy the rest of the concert.
And that's why I enjoyed Trap a little bit more than the others, like his last couple projects, is because you can pinpoint some cheesy dialogue and cheesy writing in his movies, but he almost writes a character like around this concept of cheesy dialogue. Like,
yeah,
he's a serial killer pretending to be like dad of the year or neighbor of the year, and his dialogue when he realizes he's in this trap completely shifts, and like he is a goober, but it like I don't know, it works. It gels properly.
It is. It does. But I don't know. Like, do you give him an escape for that? Like, okay,
Yeah.
did this live up to your expectations?
It exceeded it. I shit you not. Dude, I was expecting another old. I really was. After watching some trailers, I saw the hype, I got it, and then it just screamed another old where we get 20 minutes into it, there's some crazy twist that does not work and it goes completely off the rails and I can't stand it. Here, I felt like this was the most simple, like non M Night movie we've gotten since Signs, and I'm not saying it's Signs territory, but there is no big, like, groundbreaking twist that makes this movie stupid. It really is just like a fastball 90s thriller.
Well, there isn't an ending twist necessarily, but there's an ending like 4 different fucking times in the movie.
Yeah,
So
it has its Batman, and I think this movie could have been a crisp 90 minutes and been that much better. But Sean Chandler, he talks about this, but the field goal post moves like 4 different times, like throughout the movie. You think it's going to end here, and it doesn't. It keeps going, and it's not in a good way every single time.
it ends up in the same situation it could have at a previous ending, in my opinion.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
just wastes our fucking time. Like the 30 minutes that's devoted to just watching Salika perform a concert.
Okay, that is why I like this movie as a theater movie. Like the concert had enough background; it didn't feel like a CGI fest. Like it felt like a real concert.
This
And
guy absolutely was front row for the Taylor Swift Eras tour movie.
I should have been. Maybe I've been missing the movement. Also, I don't know. I didn't get the hate for Salika. I don't think she was any better or worse than, let's say, Hartnett's daughter in this movie or Hartnett's wife.
They were both awful.
So who cares? It's like
All of them were everybody in this movie was an awful actor besides the guy who was selling t-shirts and Josh Hartnett.
the guy selling T-shirts was awesome.
He was on a heat check.
What a heat check!
Yeah.
Yep. And the mid-credit scene was great. He pops back up.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
from
mom
TSA.
of the okay, let's talk about this real quick. So there's a storyline in the movie for those of you who haven't seen it, where basically Riley is right. Her name is Riley.
Yes.
Hartnett's kid has this feud with like 3 other girls who don't think she's cool enough, and like it just goes nowhere. It comes up like 4 different times probably in the movie, and it's just completely abandoned by the end of it. So there's another 5-10 minutes that could have been cut out.
That would have been the perfect time. And I just told you, like, this movie is an hour and 45 minutes. It feels a lot longer than that. And I think if you carve out that plot thread with the friends and the mom and Hartnett pretending to be neighbor of the year, I think this movie, it becomes that crisp 90 minutes because that mom pops up like twice. And then the daughters pop up when during the concert. I don't know if this is a spoiler. Are we already diving in? Does it matter?
Yeah, I not really.
Spoiler warning.
Here's the thing: is so if you have 10 minutes from the mom and the girls at the concert that suck, and then you have 20 minutes of extra endings that don't mean shit. We're saying like, okay, it could have been like a in 70-minute film essentially. Which is my point. Just make a short film, man. Trim the fat, cut 15 minutes of songs so that I'm not watching a concert, and then we're good. We've got an hour-long movie that is probably pretty good. Instead of just Hartnett like, okay, I gotta go get a pretzel now, Riley. Sorry, I'll be right back. How many excuses does she take before she's like, Dad, you're acting so weird?
Why every time the one that was just insane was when the trap door, like where the artist pops up and he's like, oh, when you want to check that out, like when you want to go down there, they probably have costumes. If you're the daughter, you've got to be thinking, is my dad on acid or something? Or did he really ball out for this concert?
Oh my god.
What a joke. But no, okay. 2 things. One, we've talked about on this pod before. Short films don't get theatrical releases. M. Night wants to make movies for the theaters.
But here's the thing. If it's a big name like M. Night, he could get that to be a theatrical release. If it's an hour long, that's just more showings for the theater.
That's a great point. I mean, I would love that. I just don't think it's possible. There's a reason it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, because he's a fucking idiot.
It's not M Night. It's everyone. Like
I guess,
you
but
mean to tell me there isn't one director that's tried this?
there is The Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar. I think it was Wes Anderson did it. Let me look up the cast details on this, but it was Netflix produced, Netflix made.
Netflix produced, Netflix made.
Yeah, so it wasn't a theater movie, but
Right.
he tried it.
Yeah. Well, Werewolf at Night, directed by Michael
Oh, dude,
Giacchino.
that was good.
I didn't see it.
Oh man, you should check it out.
Okay.
But I mean, it won the Oscar obviously this year. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, 39 minutes long. It's got Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, Ben Kingsley, Rafe Fine, or however you say it. And it's directed by Wes Anderson.
I mean, dude, the concept works. I just don't know if theaters do it. Maybe we leave it to M Night to be the pioneer.
Yeah, dude, then then do it. But his movies, I mean, he gets halfway through a concept, and he's like, yeah, I don't fucking know. Like,
He is the king of premise, not the king of getting to the finish line.
it's like in It Chapter 2, the whole bit with like James McAvoy's character doesn't know how to finish a fucking book.
Yes.
It's like that. He just needs maybe he needs a friend. Like, stop hanging out with your niece and daughter, brother. Get a friend and talk to Ethan Hawke. He's a big advocate for having a friend to tell you to cut 15 minutes of the movie.
There you go.
Like, you need somebody to have you in check, even if it is your own movie, even if you are self-funded. Because I mean, it's the same thing every fucking time with this guy.
All right. I am not as passionately upset about the runtime here. Like, yes, I feel like a little bit could have trimmed off that subplot with the daughters. If it's gone and we lose that 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is, I'm fine with the movie taking the pivots it does towards the end. I think we could maybe delete one escape scene regarding like a SWAT uniform.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
And maybe we remove that. But I like the direction this movie goes. This was not what I was expecting. And since we already dropped a warning, I thought we were going to spend the whole movie in the concert. And when we left after an hour, it's like, holy shit, okay, there's more here. let's tune in. And it's just Hartnett going off the deep end. I was cool with it.
I just couldn't. It went on too long for me, and I have another thing here that I have an issue with, and that's that you and I are big Josh Hartnett fans, right?
Yep.
Were you rooting for him?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Because this is a PG-13 movie for obvious reasons. Because Shyamalan's like, fuck, I need any audience member I can get here. You can come to my cult. And instead, we end up just like hearing about like, oh yeah, he chopped him up into pieces, and it's like kind of it feels like a running gag through the movie that this guy's like just a serial killer that butchers people like they're cows, but we never see. Like, the only thing we see him do is hold up a like a camera of a guy tied to a chair in his basement. Like, we don't get to see Hartnett do anything bad that inherently turns him against us, and we don't get to see the FBI profiler as a character at all. Like, she has, I think, one line in the movie, and so we don't really have anybody to root for other than Salika, who I could not buy into.
But that's what I think that's what's cool about this premise is it is that weird perverted overall twist that we're rooting for this killer to get out of the concert. And if we see him kill people or chop people into pieces, I would imagine that changes very quickly.
Yeah, it changes into we want to see him get caught. I think that it works both ways. Like,
but we've seen that movie before. We've seen that movie 100 times. That's what's interesting about this premise, why it feels unique. I think that maybe they do something like at the 50-minute mark, he leaves the concert, then we jump to Profiler and we figure out why this character keeps popping up.
Yeah.
And we get the backstory of why she was so dialed in on him.
Okay, that would work. I just felt like I was missing, because honestly, Hartnett's character is just, I'm a serial killer. Like, he has a small moment at the end of the movie that's a little weird, and I don't know if he was lying or telling the truth there. But his personality is serial killer. Riley's personality is
standard daughter.
Yeah.
Swiftie.
Swiftie. And Salika's personality is like, the rich people are good, actually, I promise. Please forgive me. So like nobody actually is a character in this. And for as many as like tiny escape attempts as we have, I think that some of that time could be spent talking about like who Hartnett is, or like making us either hate him or feel sympathy. Maybe we get more attached to Riley through that half-baked girls hater at school plot. Like there's got to be some reason to care about the characters other than just, oh, I like Josh Hartnett, so we follow Josh Hartnett.
This is kind of a Lem take. Like, I feel like what's wrong with not having like intricate character work here? Like we've pinpointed
I'm
that
not
we have
even
a
asking for intricate character work. I'm asking, can you name one character trait of the daughter that is not she likes Lady Raven?
no. I mean,
Okay.
but
Can you name one character trait of Josh Hartnett other than OCD serial killer?
damn it, you said OCD. Yeah, I can't. I can't.
Yeah. So
So
like,
what's wrong with that though?
because when you're, I don't know, maybe this is like a writing thing because I'm very driven by the writing, but like I look for characters that I can sympathize with. We've had this conversation before, or that I can relate to. And there were none of these in this movie, partially because all of the characters were completely one-dimensional. Like there has to be some sort of depth for me, I guess. I think most audience members to actually care about what goes on. Like why there's no stakes in it for us other than that we like Josh Hartnett.
Interesting. I don't know. For me, I didn't need that character work. This was like closer to
If this
like a
is
shopping mall.
if
Like
this is
you need like more than one dimensional character work for a movie like
Shopping Mall has better character work than this.
not
Ferdy
really.
is a better character than all these people combined.
Shopping mall is maybe 50% porno.
And it's better than this movie. So what does that say about it? Like, I don't know how to get you on the same page with me here,
You
and
won't.
I guess I can't. Yeah, it's just like I look for some sort of writing, and there wasn't any here. It was mostly just Hartnett. Like I don't understand why we had to have that roof scene. I guess like where he's, oh my god, I'm really shaken up here. I guess my
What's wrong
point
with
is
that scene?
because it's a waste of time. Nothing changes.
I mean, it's just a tension builder scene.
I didn't feel any tension because I didn't like the characters. I didn't feel anything for the characters.
Interesting. I think that where
If Josh Hartnett was played by David Dastmalchian, Polka Dot Man, would you have enjoyed this movie as much?
probably not because
Yes,
I'm not rooting for him.
exactly. That's my point. Is it is taking, it's like when J.J. Abrams plays on old IP a lot. Like in the new Star Trek movies, when Khan is introduced, he has this big swelling moment with Benedict Cumberbatch saying, "My name is Khan." And for the fans, that's a big moment, but for the people there, like that means fucking nothing.
Sure.
So it's playing on the audience outside of it. Like it's not. It's just lazy.
I understand what you're saying. I think that the premise itself and how it was constructed was cool enough to keep me engaged. Where we pivot completely is after we leave the concert and Salika and Lady Raven becomes more of a pinpoint character, and we leave the concert. I am engaged by this because I wasn't expecting her to be involved in the story beyond just playing Taylor Swift. Like I enjoyed the rescue scene, if you will, at the house.
I mean, M. Night had to make his niece a hero.
Yep.
You know, it's. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get anywhere talking about this.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sometimes
It's
it
fine.
just can't happen.
But I want to talk about M. Night a little bit. Where does this rank in your in M. Night's filmography for you?
Um, this was it's like middle of the pack for me. Like I'm defending this hardcore, but like it's not peak M Night. I just don't think it's ass M Night. I think it's like 6, maybe 7. I've got it in between Sixth Sense, which I think is slightly overrated. Sorry, everyone. And then I have it just above The Village. I think that The Village and Trap are kind of on the same playing field. I just saw I saw Trap in the theaters and had a better blast experience with it.
You know what's funny is looking at your rankings. I have almost the same. Trap is sitting at 6 for me too. um,
Okay.
but it's right underneath Unbreakable because I'm not as big of a fan of that movie as you
Got
are.
it. Got
Yeah.
it. And
And so Sixth
Glasses,
Sense.
you're 1 or you're 2?
So I've got Signs, Glass, Split, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Trap, then The Village.
I've got Signs, Split, Unbreakable, Glass, Sixth Sense, Trap, The Village.
Actually, give me Trap at 7. I'll throw The Visit in right above it.
Oh, see, yeah, that's one I didn't like.
Yeah.
This is where that's an interesting pivot. Like where how you feel about The Visit is how I feel about Trap.
Visit was just a great blast movie for me. First horror movie in theaters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was not for me. I remember the event, and that was a packed theater.
Yeah.
I just thought it sucked, and maybe I just wasn't the target
It
audience.
does. It does.
Get in the oven, clean the oven. Okay, before we jump, what'd you think of the final twist? I felt like it was simple enough where I could appreciate it. I thought he was going to go super bold, and it was going to be some wonky twist like 30 minutes in.
I did kind of think it was gonna be like, oh, actually, he's not the he's not the serial killer. It's actually Riley or something crazy like that.
I thought that he was going to be super paranoid.
Yeah.
And it turned out they were looking for someone else. He screwed himself over.
That would have been funny.
But the twist was that his wife planted the ticket in his like other house because she thought he was cheating on him.
Yeah.
Or cheating on her.
I kind of saw it coming because I mean he's framed as like this person who never makes any mistakes, but he left a receipt
Yep.
at the crime scene or whatever. And he didn't know, especially when we now know he's OCD too, like halfway through the movie. So I think that it was an okay twist. I don't even know if it really acts as a twist.
Not
It
really.
doesn't change the way you see the movie in hindsight or anything. It's just like a added fuck you to, to Hartnett's character,
Which
I
felt
guess.
refreshing. Because you go into an M. Night movie anticipating the twist now. We
Yeah.
talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And the lack of twists and the lack of goofy twists, I think, helped keep me engaged too.
I agree.
Yay, common ground.
Let's go. I did think that whole scene was unnecessary, though. I don't think it really added anything to the movie.
I enjoyed it. I just thought because I wanted to know why he slipped up because we had never addressed it. He was confused about it. I think we needed to tie that loose end.
I think that we should have ended it at there's a scene where like the SWAT team surrounds his house and then they find out there's like a tunnel inside that he can get to the neighbors and he escapes there. I would have ended it right there.
I liked that would be great. I think that the movie works better if it cuts to black after you see the bicycle where he steals the metal wiring from the bike and we just cut to black.
Instead of him.
but I like that scene. I liked him being super campy. I really like Josh Hartnett. This was cool seeing him back. Does he get any big projects after this? I would think a ton.
I think it might be a career killer.
You think so?
I don't think many people are going to like this movie.
I think Josh Hartnett could be Harvey Dent. I think
he could be, yeah.
This kind of convinced me that it could happen.
I think he's a great actor, and I think his performance in this is great. But once again, I mean, the difference between us here is that you love Hartnett, and so you like this movie. I like Hartnett, and so I think it's okay.
I like Hartnett, but I also like this movie. Like I liked the premise so much. I had a ton of fun with it as a concept.